welcome in everybody. This is the current MoC Cycle's best tier list, the only tier list you guys are going to need for Eve of Wanton Feast, the brand new Memory of Chaos. Now, when I first saw this turbulence, I really thought like, oh, this is going to be the easiest MoC in quite some time, and I am still leaning that way, but after playing on multiple accounts, it has proven to be a little bit more difficult than I originally anticipated it would be. That being said, I personally have been playing on multiple accounts, and I've been helped out by a very secret committee of gamers that have also put together this tier list with me. So I announced to you guys the best, the only Memory of Chaos tier list you're going to need to 36 star this current cycle, Eve of Wanton Feast. Now, first up at the bottom of the tiers, skills not applicable. So if you guys know about this current turbulence, you get boosted DOT damage as well as boosted basic attacks. Most of these characters thrive by using skills, so their skills just aren't necessarily that applicable for this current version of MoC, and not great typing matchups as well. Now, I should mention, we are focusing primarily on stages 9 through 12, by the way. So, I'm not saying that any of these characters can't be utilized, but they're kind of the last line of units that you would want to use. Next, a tier up. One-side pony. This is just a play on words for a one-trick pony. All of these characters, more so than the bottom tier, probably have a certain stage 9 through 12, or at least one side where they do extremely well. Think of characters like Fire Trailblaze and Japard being really good against the Dream Jolt troop, the monk that wants to, have a shield. Well, we want to have a shield to repel the damage because, Imaginary is prominent. A character like Dr. Ratio can be good on certain floors, but these characters are solid like a Shui Yi as well. Only when there's an imaginary damage type are they going to be like really solid, but I can't say that any of these characters are going to be the key to success to carry you through all stages 9 through 12. Now, next up, Team Success. Similar to one-side pony, none of these characters on their own are going to carry you to complete domination 9 through 12. However, paired with other characters on this tier or with some of the characters on the tiers above them, I think they can all thrive in the right situation. It's just they've got to do it by committee. None of these characters are going to solo carry you through any particular side or any particular stage, but they're solid units that you could add in. Next tier up, Unga Bunga and Prage. These are DPS units that are really strong, traditionally really good, but might not have the ideal typing matchups for things going on. Now, with Jin Yuan, there is a decent amount of lightning, but Jin Yuan's not doing many basics, and he's not giving very much DOT either, so he is straight up doing the Unga Bunga strat. Same thing with Jing Liu, she seems to always fit into an Unga Bunga tier at worst, but if you've got these DPSers, if these are the characters you're relying on, you've got a chance as long as they're built well, and you can Unga Bunga your way through to the top 3 tiers. Now we have Plug and Play. It is literally as simple as that. This tier is reserved for the best, the top tier supporters and sustainers the game has to offer. You don't really, well, not necessarily the game has to offer, but to offer for this current MoC cycle. You don't got to think too hard, too long, too tough about adding any of these characters into teams. Ran Mei, Fu Xuan, Quokwa, etc. down this tier. They just seem to fit in for any team that you need them in, and if you've got these as your supporting cast, you're probably doing pretty solid. On to the top 2. We have top tier Turbulence. Now, I mentioned at the beginning, and if you guys have been playing MoC, then you already know that basic attacks are being promoted so you can get rid of those trotters quickly and apply some DOTs to chip down the enemy every time they want to take action. DHIL and Blade are chef's kiss, perfect for doing so. They have boosted basic attacks. They allow you to chip down those trotters extremely quickly, and especially with somebody like DHIL, fantastic against MoC 12 and fighting Sam. He's a great matchup. He's kind of like Sam's kryptonite. So these are a top tier Turbulence characters, but there is still one tier above them. You guys may have predicted this. You probably have already figured out by who is not tier on the tiers, but Reigning on top of the tiers for Eve of Wanton Feast, we have Queens of the Hill, a play on King of the Hill. These two ladies right here, both Kafka and Black Swan, are phenomenal for this MoC, whether it be through the typing matchups, whether it be through exploiting the turbulence with extra DOT damage on the trotters, and then just doubling down on what they do awesome. Nihility Gaming is going crazy right now. Presumably, Acheron will be joining this Queens of the Hill tier after she is released, but for the time being, at the time of us doing this live at twitch.tv/NIXIRL, and with the YouTube video dropping, these two are the ones that stand atop the rest. This is the best tiers, the only tiers you guys need to reference to 36-star MoC. Queens of the Hill on top tier Turbulence, both of those being your top DPS choices, and then plug and play being your best support and sustain options. But it doesn't end there, chat. And although I think this is a fantastic tier list that myself and the members of the committee put together, I would be crazy to not bring on somebody to rebuttal these tiers and give us some extra outside opinions. So please do join me with some claps in chat by, helping us give a warm welcome to our guest today, our friend dravenverse. What's up, Draven? How are you feeling?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me in today.
Dude, of course. So, Draven, obviously these tiers are phenomenal. Okay, all credit goes to our committee of wonderful big brain HSR gamers in helping me put together these tiers. But do you have any quarrels with the tier? Any characters that you think got done dirty and should be moved?
Someone who's seen quite a few of your tier lists and pretty much every video you've put out, I have to say that this new system you have for your tier list, instead of grading them by levels but having the categories, I think that this clarifies things a lot better, and it probably has a lot less pushback to be given. So I think this is one of your better tier lists in general.
Really?
I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed with where you have most of these characters laid. There's a few queries I'd like to bring up. But for the most part, I agree with you. Queens of the Hill, those are the two that belong there. Top tier Turbulence, because of the spamming out the basics. I'm feeling you on that. Also, I did a little breakdown before coming on here to figure out like what weaknesses were most prevalent throughout 9 through 12, and Imaginary and Wind and Lightning are definitely the top tier choices. There is one element, though, you kind of left off that's very frequent, and I understand why you've left it off based off your explanation of what your top tier Turbulence using basics and stuff. But you did leave off Fire.
Oh.
And the only reason I'm even going to bring it up is I see that you have characters I used on every single one of the MoCs, 9 through 12, which, yes, I did full 36 star it. I have characters I used on all of them that are at the bottom of your list here. But it could be because I am an actual follow-up attack building team player. So it's when I look at the Himiko, the Topaz, the Dr. Ratio, but more so the Himiko and the Topaz, because Topaz makes for a great support for Jingyuan, actually, because of her marks that she puts out. And a lot of the ones where Fire is a weakness, Lightning is also, so they actually paired up really well for me during my playthrough.
So where would you argue, if we're talking about Topaz, where do you think she should belong on these tiers?
I think that she might be able to bump up to the team success route for the way that you've explained them.
Okay.
Is it does rely on the team. She is not the lead damage dealer. I mean, she, with other follow-ups, becomes a lead damage dealer. So, like, she can Unga Bunga if there's enough follow-up on the team. And that's what I did for my teams.
Okay.
So I had her. For me, she Unga Bunga'd out the gorillas, especially. She was ripping through, whether it was the Penacony gorillas or the Luofu gorillas, she was wrecking. But I don't think she deserves the Unga Bunga status to be on there with Adventuring. Because the way when I see your Jingliu on there and your Adventuring on there, Jingliu has almost no type advantage in here. Adventuring has very little, but they do so much hard-hitting damage, it does not matter. All right. So I think they deserve to be in there, even though they don't have the most type. Like, I used Adventuring a little bit, and I probably would have used Jingliu if I had her. I don't.
Fair enough.
So it's not so much that I think that there's certain characters that don't deserve to be where they are, but the one synergy type that was able to get me through this isn't really represented, and that's the follow-up attack team. Because, for example, I don't think Himiko deserves to be up there, but you pair Himiko with Topaz, with Ron May, like I did, and that wrecked everything for me. Like, that worked very well for me.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would sub out where Fire Weakness wasn't there, but Lightning was. Well, bring in Jing Yuan, same team. So again,
Hmm.
it's not that I think that you need to rebuild your list. I don't. I think that maybe moving Branya up to the plug and play, I don't see why she would be in the team success when she is basically the same tier level of gameplay as Sparkle, who is in the plug and play.
Mm-hmm.
I also think Branya, besides for the fact that she's more skill point needy than, say, Ting Yun and Pila, who are good at generating skill points,
Mm-hmm.
Sparkle does pretty good. She's more skill point neutral if it's a long fight, but if it's a short fight, she is skill point positive.
Well, to give you
But
the
I think Branya
rationale,
deserves the plug and play.
yeah.
Sorry, was that?
No, I was just going to say to give you the rationale there, and again, we've got a wonderful committee that works on this with me, and I did get some pushback on that Bronya. I feel you there. The thing that I would say is because she always wants to use that skill point and, opposite of Sparkle who's giving them back, I felt that she was just a little bit too skill point heavy to be an easy plug and play, especially if you want to use a QQ on the quantum floors or if you wanted to use a DHIL, which can be pretty solid. Whereas, Sparkle's going to give those skill points back. Again, agree, disagree. This is why we bring on, people like yourself to give some opinions. But that was at least my thought process on it.
And this is another thing where specifically someone as unique as Topaz comes into play. And that's someone I use a lot and have used for this rotation is she's skill point positive because you're spamming out her basic.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of times where I have an excess of skill points where I can plug in someone like Branya fairly easily. Let's say I just want to use Branya and Topaz to support a Jing Yuan team. Again, this is just my playthrough experience of what I did this time around.
Mm-hmm.
I was never at a lack of skill points because she's always generating.
Hey,
So again, maybe that's why my thought process is slightly different on that because my played experience is as I explained there.
well, it just goes to
Yeah,
show
like I'm
there's
looking
more than
down
one
here.
way. More than one way to peel the potato. You feel me? Draven, I said at the beginning, and I thought this, but I'm curious your opinion on it. I think this is one of the easier MOCs we've had. Do you agree with that? Disagree with that? What has your experience been difficulty scaling wise compared to some of the other MOCs?
Since 12 has come out, for sure. Now, I do have a slightly dolphined out account. I buy the battle pass, the login calendar, and I have purchased one of each of the top ups, and so that I have more resources. So I mean, I've been full
Fair.
clearing 10 for a while, so it's kind of hard for me to figure out like from a point of 10, but from a point to 12, yeah, I do think this one was easier than some of the other ones. Which I didn't even expect considering I don't have Kafka. I don't have Black Swan. Even I felt very little difficulty in completing at a full 36 stars.
That's good. That's good to hear, and it'll be good for the viewers, whether it's the people here in chat or any of the people that are watching over on YouTube. That even if you don't have the Queens of the Hill, these top at least atop my tiers characters, you can still get through and have an opportunity to 36 star. Dude, Draven, I appreciate your feedback. I appreciate the pushback and your thoughts on it. Where can the people find you if they want to come check you out, maybe on your own Twitch channel?
Well, I do stream on Twitch Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I'm an earlier day streamer, so I live on the East Coast, so we usually start about 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and run till 6-ish during the week. And on the weekends, we start as early as 10:30 and run till 3:30-ish. But yeah, as he mentioned before, I do a lot of character reviews and stuff like that. I take a very academic approach to things
Certainly.
because it's my niche. It's where I'm comfortable. I'm a scholar, so it just literally just feels right.
It works out.
Uh, and I do get to beta test. I did not beta test 2.1, but I am going to be in 2.2 again. So they brought me back into the rotation. I don't
Nice.
leak. We don't do that. But assumptions can be made based on my choices, if you so will.
Fair enough. Yo, chat, let's get another round of claps for our guest, Draven Mods. If we can give a little shout out and plug Draven. Yo, if you're watching this on YouTube, I appreciate you guys sticking through. If you made it this deep in the video, make sure you click that subscribe, drop a like on the video, and leave a comment letting me know if there's any characters on this tier list that you disagree with. Come hang out with me on Twitch at twitch.tv/NIXIRL or Draven at some time. Both of our links will be down in the bio. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Adios.